Hello everyone, today I wanted to share a new PCB I've been working on called Ouroboros. Ouroboros is a closed-loop, field-oriented control motor controller designed for Klipper 3D printers. The point of this board is to let you print really fast without compromising on print quality. It also lets your motors run cooler, quieter, and it also lets you deal with skip steps a bit better because it's closed-loop. So it's a pretty unique board in the Klipper world. So I should start by explaining what closed-loop and field-oriented control are, since they are both new in the Klipper world. I'll start by explaining what closed-loop is. Closed-loop is a system where your driver knows exactly where your motor is pointing at. That's typically achieved with an encoder bolted onto the backside of your motor. But yeah, this is, for example, a motor without an encoder. And that's what we typically do in our 3D printers. We have a stepper motor that's being driven by an open-loop driver, meaning the driver doesn't know where your stepper is pointing at. Obviously, the advantage of that is simplicity and it's also cheaper, but the downside of that is your driver cannot factor in where your motor is pointing at to drive the motor. So the driver can use that for various purposes, but for example, one of the advantages of a closed loop system is because the driver knows where the stepper is pointing at. Say if you're trying to make a move like this, but you have a skip step in the middle, the driver will know about it and it can compensate for it. And this encoder feedback is also used by the field-oriented control algorithm. So if you Google field-oriented control, what you'll likely find is a drawing like this. The circle represents the rotor of your motor, and this is the direction it's pointing in. If you want to turn the motor like so, obviously you want to apply a pulling force on here in this direction, but you don't need to apply any force in this direction. If we move on here, this inner circle represents your rotor and the outer circle represents where your coils are. So if this rotor is also pointing in this direction, and here are all your coils, and you're trying to turn it in the same direction, if you energize the coils, coils on this side will be pulling in this direction, coils on this side will be pushing in this direction, sure, but the coils on the top and bottom will either be pulling in this direction or in this direction. Either way, that is wasted energy, and that's what field-oriented control is trying to minimize here. So it's trying to apply just the right amount of energy to make the motor move in the direction you want to move it at, and minimize the energy that you do not need to apply to the motor to make the motor move. So this drawing is actually from the TMC4671 datasheet, and I think it explains it pretty well. So by minimizing that wasted energy, you are running your motors more efficiently, and that means less wasted heat from the motor, so they run cooler, and less noise coming from your motor, which is actually vibration. So one of the main advantages of this in our application, in my opinion, is the reduced resonances originating from your stepper motor. That way you can print a lot faster without dealing with any resonance related issues. So that's the really cool thing about field-oriented control. If you want to get great looking parts at high speeds, field-oriented control lets you do that. I've demoed this board at Rocky Mountain RepRap Festival, where it was set to do 250,000 accelerations and the speed was set to 25,000. The 25,000 speed, obviously it wasn't reaching those speeds with a Voron-sized gantry, but the point of that setting was to get rid of the speed cap and let the motor move as fast as it can with the acceleration setting it was set at, which as I said is 250,000. So I just moved on to production this month in September after a successful beta test, and yeah, I'm very happy with how this turned out. So let's mount this on the test gantry and we will do a similar demo to what I did at Rocky Mountain RepRap Festival. The Ouroboros is now mounted on the test gantry, and the stepper motors are wired to the Ouroboros, both the power wires and the encoders. You can also see the end stops are wired to the Ouroboros as well, and you do need to use physical end stops with Ouroboros. So there is one limit switch back there and another one, you can't probably see it, but there's another one on the carriage. The power is the middle two pins on the screw terminals, and that's wired to this Meanwell 48 volt power supply. And yeah, everything is hooked up and ready for a demo. The motors are currently off, so if you can hear any noise in the background, that is the air conditioning, it's not the motors. But now I'm going to enable the motors by homing X so I can get an idea of what the motors sound like, and I'll shut up while doing that. So let's do that. Now I'm going to move the microphone right on the gantry so you can get an idea of the type of noise the motors make. Just keep in mind that the microphone is right up against the motors, and obviously you would be sitting further away from your printer normally, but I'll move the microphone now and home Y so you can hear the type of noise the motors make. It's mostly hissing, but yeah, you can hear it for yourself. So as you can see, the motors are pretty quiet. Most of the noise you hear is hissing, but in an enclosure, obviously you wouldn't really hear much of that hissing. When you're moving the motors fast, obviously they start making more noise, but they're overall pretty quiet. So now I'm going to do a demo of this using the test speed macro. I'm going to start with something pretty modest, 1000 millimeters a second, 15,000 accelerations, and we'll increase this as we go. So yeah, let's start with that 15,000 acceleration. It's going to home twice, and then it's going to do that acceleration. For the record, you should not use the speed test macro for tuning maximum speeds and accelerations. I will talk more about why later on. You can probably hear some rattling right now. The rattling you're hearing is the googly eyes. It's not coming from the motors or anything like that. It doesn't have anything to do with the Ouroboros. So as you can see, it did that no problem. So yeah, let's do what I did at Rocky Mountain Rep Festival. Let's do 250,000 acceleration. I'm going to hold the gantry now because it moves around at these accelerations. So as you can see, it even managed to do that. At accelerations this high, you will be dealing with overshoot issues, so I am not saying that you can print at these accelerations, but the point of this demo was to show you what the board itself can handle. In real life, you can't use the test speed macro to figure out what your maximum speeds and accelerations are, because what the test speed macro is testing with a normal open loop setup is how fast you can go without it skipping steps. And Ouroboros is a closed loop driver, meaning if it skips steps, it will compensate for it, and as a result, test speed macro won't really tell you anything. So in real life, the way you figure out what your maximum speeds and accelerations are is by actually printing with it. What the maximum speed and accelerations are for your setup will depend on your setup, your motors, your config, things like that. But whatever it ends up being, it will be pretty fast. And what makes this work behind the scenes is the use of the TMC4671 servo controller. TMC4671 is a hardware level field-oriented controller, and this is key because with Klipper you can't normally do field-oriented control, because field-oriented control and closed loop for that matter require asynchronous computation, because you're taking into account the feedback that's coming from the motor to do the control, and for that to work, obviously the calculation needs to happen when there's a change in the data that's coming from the motor, and that can't work with synchronous computation. But since TMC4671 does the field-oriented control stuff on a hardware level, it runs pretty much independently of Klipper, and it can do the asynchronous computation required for field-oriented control itself. The way this works is you, as I said, have some data coming from the motor, so you have two things. One is the position sensor, which is the encoder, and you are also measuring the current that's flowing into the motor. So yeah, this is the internal block diagram of this. And yeah, you can see the field-oriented control section here. When we're driving stepper motors, we're not actually using Clark or inverse Clark, but we're still using Park and inverse Park. So you're getting the data from the motor, like I said, and you're also interfacing with Klipper, obviously, so you have your usual step and direction signals. This means that this appears to Klipper like any other stepper driver, because when you're driving a stepper using Klipper, you're always using step and direction. So TMC2209s or even the old Allegros, every single stepper driver you use with Klipper uses step and direction signals. So this appears to Klipper just like any of those, and that makes this compatible with Klipper. There's also an SPI bus running between Klipper and this chip, and the SPI bus is used for setting the registers here. So with a TMC2209, for example, you know, you have the TMC2209 section in the config. Well, there is something similar for this as well. So that's used for the communication, for setting all the parameters for the field-oriented control and the rest of the TMC4671 to work. And there is a plugin to allow that, which I will talk about later in the video. So you use the step and direction signals coming from Klipper in combination with all the parameters you've set and all the data that's coming from the motor to do the field-oriented control calculation. Well, this stuff passes through the motor control stuff first, but either way, it outputs the PWM signals that's necessary for the gate drivers to drive the MOSFETs to drive the motors. So this is actually mostly just a processor. None of the motor power flows through the TMC4671. It's just a fancy processor that does all the field-oriented control stuff on a hardware level. And that's the really cool thing about TMC4671 for this application, because Klipper, as I said, couldn't do this without field-oriented control implemented on a hardware level. So I'm not going to bore you to death explaining how this works further under the hood, and I'm also not going to bore you to death explaining how these stepper drivers and the traditional stepper drivers we use drive stepper motors, but I actually prepared this to do that. I just think I would bore you to death, so I'm going to skip all that. But if you do want me to talk more about this and explain the advantages of field-oriented control in a separate video, let me know and I can make a separate video about this topic. So let's move on to taking a closer look at the Ouroboros PCB. Ouroboros has two TMC4671 drivers supporting two motors. It supports both brushless DC and stepper motors, so you're more likely to use stepper motors on your 3D printer. Ouroboros supports both 24 and 48 volts for the drive voltage, and you connect them to the middle two screw terminal pins here, and the outer four are used for the motor. It communicates with Klipper running on your Raspberry Pi or whatever else SPC you have via USB. There's an STM32H723 MCU here running Klipper. STM32H723 is a very high-end, very powerful microcontroller, and it was picked for this job to make sure that it never ever is a bottleneck for the communication between the TMC4671s and Klipper running on your Raspberry Pi. Both the motors support optical, Hall effect, and analog encoders. Optical is recommended for this application though, so that would be the middle 8-pin JST-XH here. There's also an expansion port on board. There aren't any boards designed for the expansion port at the moment, but there are some behind the scenes things going on about this, so this is designed to add even more functionality to the board. Under the heatsink, what we find is the MOSFETs. So this board has 20 MOSFETs on board. These are giant MOSFETs made by Toshiba. So this board is designed to handle 15 amps per motor peak, and you can also see thermistors here as a safety feature. And these MOSFETs are driven by these gate drivers here from Texas Instruments. As I explained, the TMC4671, all it is really just a processor, so it sends the PWM signals to the gate drivers which drive the gates. You can also find two brake resistors which are mounted to the heatsink normally. These brake resistors, what they do is they dump the excess energy that's on the motors when you want to, for example, make the motor stop. That's why they're called brake resistors. They dump the energy into the heatsink, which makes it easier to quickly slow down and swap the direction the motor is going in. So those two brake resistors are on here. We also have a nice anodized heatsink mounted on the board. This heatsink is designed to be overkill for this board, but again, the point of that is to have a massive board that can power even the most powerful motors you might have on a 3D printer. 15 amps peak is massive, and the board is designed to handle that. So this heatsink is also made by a member in the Voron vendor community, and it's made in America, and they did a great job with the machining of this. So this is machined aluminum, and it's anodized red, as you can see. And speaking of made in America, these boards are also made by me in-house in America, so I am assembling these in-house myself using my new pick-and-place equipment. Recently I made a lot of investments into moving manufacturing in-house instead of outsourcing it to China, so Ouroboros is assembled using new equipment by myself, and a lot of the rest of my products will soon be moving to in-house manufacturing as well. I've recently launched a new documentation website where you can find documentation for the Ouroboros and all the rest of my PCBs as well. And I decided to make this documentation website because of Ouroboros, because I wanted to make as thorough documentation for the Ouroboros as possible. There is also a Klipper plugin you will need to install to use Ouroboros, developed by Andrew, who also developed the TMC Autotune plugin. His TMC4671 plugin is enabling the use of TMC4671 drivers with Klipper, and that's necessary for Ouroboros to work as well, obviously. He really did a great job with this plugin, and massive credit to him, because Ouroboros and anything else that's using TMC4671s couldn't work with Klipper without his work. So I will link that repository in the description below as well, and installation instructions are also available on my website. Ouroboros is now released and available for purchase, so if you're interested in purchasing an Ouroboros, I'll link my store in the description below. You can also purchase one from West3D as well, and there will be more resellers reselling this soon as well. Other than the board, you will also need stepper motors with encoders on the back. These motors are a little more expensive than the typical stepper motor, but these are not too expensive and they're available from many sellers out there. So you just need a motor with an encoder on the back, because this is a closed loop system. You do need encoder feedback for the system to work. So that is another thing you will need to purchase to make this work. So yeah, that's the Ouroboros. I'm very happy with how Ouroboros turned out. This was a massive project for me, but I wanted to do this because it genuinely looks like a very cool technology with many benefits, and it's a very unique board in the Klipper world, and I wanted to make this happen. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you found this project interesting. If you did, please leave a like down below, and thanks for watching.